Welcome back to the latest edition of Conference Chatter TV. My name is Eric Sorrentino. I'm the KUSports.com Big 12 blogger, and I am here to hopefully improve upon my 3-3 showing from last week's slate of games in the Big 12. Overall, we're not doing too bad this season. We are 48-13, picking at a 78% clip. So let's get to the games in Week 8, starting with Oklahoma at Kansas at 2:30 p.m. I feel like this is such an unknown matchup based on what both teams have done this year. You look at Oklahoma, they're 3-3, but are they better than their record indicates? That could be argued. They've lost 3 games by a combined 5 points, and they've all been against good teams. You look at BYU, they're 16 in the country. Miami's now number 8, and Texas is number 3. When you look for what works for both of these teams, clearly with Oklahoma, it's their defense. They are 3rd in the nation in scoring defense with just over 9 points allowed per game. And then you look at Kansas, and it's definitely their offense with a prolific passing game, and they're 5th in the country in scoring offense with over 38 points scored per game. So that should be an intriguing matchup. But the difference to me in this game will be the OU offense. How well will it respond after struggling last week against Texas? Sam Bradford will probably be out for the year, so it's all Landry Jones right now at quarterback for Oklahoma. How will he fare? What kind of production will the Sooners' running game get after minus 16 yards of rushing last week against Texas? We'll see how that goes. I'm thinking that Oklahoma is going to narrowly win this game by a field goal. I think KU will cover the 8-point spread, but I'm going to go with Oklahoma in this game. Kansas, they haven't beaten OU in 12 years. This will be, if KU were to win this game, this would be a huge, huge statement game and would kind of, put into perspective really how far this program has come, in the direction of Mark Mangino. But I think the KU defense is, it's struggling a little bit, and I think Oklahoma can exploit some holes in that defense. I look for OU's offense to play a little bit better than it did last week, put up a little bit more points, and narrowly defeat Kansas in that game. Let's go to the other games on Saturday. It's Colorado at K-State at 11:30 a.m. Never ever thought I'd be saying this, but this is for first place in the Big 12 North. Unbelievable. K-State, with as bad as it's looked against UCLA, Louisiana Lafayette, especially Texas Tech, has a chance to go 3-1 in the conference and provide some separation in this cluster of a Big 12 North race. I mean, it's unbelievable. This one, I think, is really on the K-State defense, which completely had its way in the 62-14 beatdown of Texas A&M last week. The K-State defense with 6 sacks, 3 interceptions, and it's going to have to, that's kind of extreme. I'm not going to say that they're going to do that against Colorado as well, but the defense has to step up because we really haven't seen that from K-State before last week. Last week, Daniel Thomas, he had those 4 touchdown runs, but it was really the short field that created those opportunities. Obviously, that was, created by the K-State defense, giving, the offense that short field to work with. So I'm gonna take K-State at home here. I think the defense comes up with a few plays, and momentum is a crazy thing. K-State looked really bad earlier in the year, and I think that they're playing a little bit better. Colorado obviously playing better with Tyler Hansen at quarterback, but I think K-State at home, I like them in that one. Next, we have Oklahoma State at Baylor at 11:30 a.m. Hey, is there really anybody more valuable to their team than Baylor quarterback Robert Griffin? Since he's been injured and been out, Baylor is 1-2. They're 0-2 in conference play in that time, and they really didn't even contend with Iowa State last week. So I like Oklahoma State here, even on the road. The Pokes playing better. After that home loss to Houston, they've won their last 4. They're on a bit of a roll here, and I like Oklahoma State over Baylor. Next game, we have Iowa State at Nebraska at 11:30 a.m. The Nebraska quarterback situation is interesting and also unsettled. Coach Bo Pelini saying that it will be a game-time decision whether he starts junior Zach Lee or true freshman Cody Green. For Nebraska's sake, I just hope it's one quarterback or the other. You guys know what I think about the 2-quarterback system. I do not like it whatsoever. I just hope they stick with one option. in Nebraska. I expect that option to be Zach Lee. I know he's struggled. I know the fans in Lincoln are chanting for Cody Green to enter the game. He did last week against Texas Tech, but I think that I think it's a little bit too early to completely pull the plug on Lee. I like Nebraska at home in this game certainly to win, and really we'll really keep an eye on those quarterbacks because the Nebraska defense continues to play well, but it's the offense that's obviously struggling. But I like Nebraska to win that one. Texas A&M at Texas Tech, 6 p.m. In this, I'm looking at Steven Sheffield from Texas Tech. He's out 2 to 3 weeks. Taylor Potch probably will be ready to be back under center for Texas Tech. I definitely like Texas Tech in this game at home. Arguably, no team in the Big 12 has played better than Tech in these last 2 weeks. They've just been sensational. An interesting storyline, though. You guys probably remember from last April's NFL draft with Mike Leach saying he felt happy for former A&M quarterback Stephen McGee being drafted in the 4th round, obviously sort of joking about that, saying that the Dallas Cowboys coaches like him better than A&M's because he was not really benched in favor of Gerard Johnson, but it was a really up and down senior season for Stephen McGee. He was battling injuries. And that storyline's kind of been on the back burner for a while. It hasn't really come up, but I would think that Mike Sherman's going to have A&M fired up for this game. But they just didn't really look good. They haven't looked good these past couple weeks, and I just don't see it happening in Lubbock. I'm going to have to stick with Texas Tech in this game, but that storyline's kind of an interesting addition to what will take place there in Lubbock. And the last game of the week for Week 8 is Texas at Missouri, 7 p.m. In this, a lot has been made, I feel, about Texas dropping from number 2 to number 3 in the polls. Here's what I have to say to the Longhorns. Just keep on winning and don't worry about it. There's really a legit chance that Texas will go undefeated if they get past these next 2 weeks on the road, at Missouri, and at Oklahoma State. There's a good chance they go undefeated if they get through these 2 weeks. Can UT's offense get better? Absolutely. But you know what? So can Florida's, quite frankly. I mean, they turned the ball over 4 times last week against Arkansas. Alabama, you look at their offense. They can improve too. They turned it over 4 times last week as well. So, a lot has been made about UT's offense, and that comes with the perception of the Big 12. Last year, Texas was a team that averaged 42 points a game. Not happening this year. But you know what? Texas's defense is playing at a level that it did not play last year as well. So it's tough to really, measure these teams against each other because I feel like a lot of it has been made on the perception of the Big 12 Conference in previous years. Look, if Texas finishes the year undefeated, there's little to no chance that they do not play in the BCS championship game. They probably will get that opportunity if they finish the year undefeated. So just win out, and we'll see what happens. I like Texas in this game. All that said, I like Texas in this game on the road in Columbia to beat Missouri. I think it's like a 13-point spread. I maybe see Missouri keeping it close, maybe covering, but I like the Horns on the road. I don't see them losing that game. So I think that's all the time we have, guys, for this week of Conference Chatter TV. I appreciate you checking out the latest episode. I'll talk to you guys again, as always, later this weekend. Thanks a lot.